Welcome back to This Has to Work, where athleisure is considered proper business attire because, as in life, if you set the bar low enough, you're more likely to exceed expectations. So welcome to the show. As always, joining me is Jay Johnson, my co-host. How are you, Jay?
All is well, man. How's everything going?
Good. This week is Classic Week.
Yeah.
Which used to be the Classic, then it was the Classic Weekend.
Yeah.
And now it's the Classic Week. And soon it'll be the Classic Month.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Sunday to Sunday.
So for any of our viewers out there that aren't familiar with this, what is the Classic?
Yep. So here in Birmingham, they call it Birmingham is known as the Magic City. I don't know why, because I haven't seen any tricks, but it is what it is.
Not the kind we're going to talk about on tape.
Facts, might have. And so, but essentially you have two of the largest public HBCUs, which is Alabama A&M University, taking on Alabama State University, which for me kind of make me want to go into the way Eddie Murphy explained it in Coming to America, but I'm not going to go there. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But overall, it's a really good matchup between two in-state schools where they have huge alumni associations spread out globally. They all come into Birmingham for the whole week, mind you, for the whole week.
Oh yeah.
And just hang out and go to all these different networking parties. It's a good time. It can be overwhelming, but it's an amazing opportunity, great revenue driver for the city. But most importantly, at the end of the week, they play the football game in Legion Field to see who's going to talk ish to each other for the rest of the year.
Yeah. So as a Morehouse man, do you take sides on any of this stuff, or you just try to stay neutral?
Yeah, typically I wear my Morehouse shirts up in all the events because I don't care either one.
That's just a flex.
It's a flex. I was like, this is what y'all need in order to still make it work. I get it.
Well,
I support all.
So everybody out there, happy Classic Week to all those who celebrate. In the deck today, we're going to talk about Chris Lattner's startup Modulr, which just raised $250 million on a $1 billion plus valuation to build developer tools for AI hardware. And more specifically, we're going to talk about how this funding could remind founders how important it is to consider building picks and shovel businesses.
Yeah.
So we'll explain what a pick and shovel business is and why that can be super valuable, especially when we're talking about AI. This week's second line, we're going to talk about Marissa Mayer's Sunshine Startup Lab.
Crazy.
Shutting down, and we're going to get a little bit of the history of Marissa Mayer. It's
right.
Not all great. And then we will end the show, as we always end the show, with our patron saint of the obvious, Sam Altman's quote of the week. It's a fan favorite for sure. So let's jump right into it. So Chris Lattner, who is a former developer tools engineer,
yep.
I'm probably butchering his title, is probably way fancier.
Done a lot of things.
Yeah, all the things at Apple. He just raised $250 million for his startup, Modulr. And what it basically does is it allows people, developers specifically, to build code for chips regardless of the chip manufacturer.
Yeah.
So if it's an NVIDIA chip, works on an NVIDIA chip.
Yep.
If it's an AMD chip, it works on an AMD chip, because apparently that's a thing.
Yeah.
Where you have to code it differently for each one of these chips. When I read this, what I started thinking about was, we talk about pick and shovel businesses.
Right.
So when I say pick and shovel business, what does that make you think of?
I mean, back in the day, like during the gold rush, people, I mean, essentially, like, you got those individuals, it's almost like they were scalping tickets back then. It's like, hey, you can go and another, there's gonna be another reference to kind of like Coming to America. I don't know why I'm on that this week, but it is what it is. But like, you go and say, hey, during the great gold rush era, I'm getting out here and I want to go and I want to go gold. I mean, like, I want to pick these mines in order so I can go find the gold. Now, there's no guarantee that you're going to probably like get some gold while you go in there. Yeah. But, in order to do it, you must have two things. Aha.
Yep.
Aha.
Aha.
Right. Yeah. So, you got individuals say, you know what? We're just going to sell the pick and shovel.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, fundamentally, if you think about it, who's the one person who didn't go out of business or didn't bust?
Yeah.
Well, lots of miners busted, but the guy or the gal that was selling picks and shovels to the miners
got rich.
made their money. right?
Got rich.
So if you translate that into technology, it's the same kind of thing. So you could think about this as like browser plugins. You could think about it as developer tools. You could think about it as Slack, right? It's a good example of it. Like that's a pick and shovel business. I'm not trying to write code, but I'm trying to create a communication platform for engineers and developers that want to communicate more quickly, more rapidly, or in a style that they're most comfortable with. So Slack builds the tool, not the software. So why is that so valuable? Like, why is that such a good idea?
I mean, I like a good extension business. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I always look at it like my iPhone, right? To build that iPhone and to continuously maintain it and update it, like Apple spends a lot in the engineering. But like the people who just make the case for it, you know, it's pennies to a dollar and they sell it for $20. And I mean, it doesn't require PhDs or MITs, and they just really just get the specs from it and just build the same thing over and over again. And to me, you're talking about return on investment, like, man, that's a big one. So that's how I look at it.
I also think, too, it's especially applicable and especially interesting if you're going to build it around AI, because the AI companies, when you think about the AI companies, what are we talking about? We're talking about the GPU manufacturers. We're talking about the LLM developers. We're talking about the OpenAIs, the Anthropics of the world, which are building these really huge, really expensive, and I would say arguably pretty risky businesses. You're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, and they could go belly up. One or two of them could go belly up, but the person that's building the pick and shovel type stuff, like what Lattner's doing, it doesn't. You're not as hinged to any one customer. Like your future isn't determined just because this one customer went out of business or my LLM failed. It's like, well, no, because I'm building developer tools for anybody's LLM or anybody's chip.
And you get access to you already have access to their technology. So you can build something based on what you've already purchased. So you're not having to get the engineers and then build it and then see if it works and then try to do this. It's already built. So now we just got to get the engineers and say, hey, what if we did this? How can we make this much easier and simpler? And like you said, man, like at the end of the day, it's low risk. And I think even when I look at it from even just y'all perspective in investments, I can see why more investors would prefer to invest in, pick and shovel type businesses as opposed to just those who take a lot of risk. It's risk mitigation.
Yeah, and there are examples of this across the board. I mean, we mentioned kind of the chip manufacturers, but like NVIDIA is an obvious one. But there's another company called ASML. I don't know if you've ever heard of these guys, but they supply the ultraviolet lithography. I had to practice that word.
Good job on that, because I've struggled
I'm not going to
with that one.
I'm not going to attempt it again. But the machines for manufacturing cutting-edge semiconductors, so Supermicro Computer provides high-performance servers and computing infrastructure. So you have these companies like ASML, Supermicro Computer, that are doing real pick and shovel stuff around the underpinnings of everything that AI relies on. But there was another one, and this one I looked up, came up in my research, that I hadn't even thought of, but it was Corning.
I never even heard that. That sounds like a sexual term.
So Corning Glass,
okay,
the glass company of all places, they make really specialized glass like Gorilla Glass, and more specifically, they make fiber optics glass. Which, if you want to get down to the most basic of pick and shovel businesses, literally the cabling, the wiring that makes any of this stuff happen, down to the fiber optics of all Corning. We talk about OpenAI, we talk about NVIDIA, we talk about Anthropic, we talk about these other, XAI.
Right.
We don't talk about Corning.
No.
And Corning's selling to all of them, or Corning's relevant to all of them. So if any one of those fails or goes out of business, I mean, it's a hiccup, but ultimately they're still going to do a ton of business.
Man, look, I'm going to tell you this. I want to be that type of CEO. I want to be the CEO where people didn't even know that was a company that did this, and you don't see that person speaking on circuits, right? Yeah. So they never get caught saying dumb shit that can forever tie back to them, which somehow this may come back to me later on. But I pray that I get high enough and further enough with Prep Intel I can say dumb shit and I can get quotes like that. But at the end of the day, that's such a cool way to kind of to just live. You know what I mean? It made me think about shoestrings, right? The company that put the plastic tips on shoestrings.
Right.
No one knows who does that, but someone is that they got a yacht somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they living really well.
You know the one I
Under the
always
radar.
think, the one I always think about, and I don't know why. I guess it's because I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s. But like when they came up with the pop top to sodas and beer that you didn't pull off.
Yeah.
And created trash.
Yeah.
I remember going when my dad would play rec softball.
Yep.
You would go to the softball field and it would be nothing but pull tabs.
Yep.
Of like Schlitz and like, Pabst cans and all that stuff.
Right.
I think about the guy who invented and patented the flip top that stayed on the can.
My daughter, who's 11 at this time, showed me the coolest thing with that. I'm tell you, she's Generation Alpha. She said that if you just turn it around, it's actually used to hold your straw.
I saw that.
I said, what?
But the question is that really how it was designed?
I doubt it.
It doesn't matter though, does it?
doesn't matter.
And especially for Gen Alpha, they don't care. They've made up in their mind that's what it was designed for, and we're running with it.
And whoever came up with that 40, 50, 60 years ago had that much vision. I'm pretty sure they write for The Simpsons or Twilight Zone because they already can see the future.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
All right, this week's second line, we're going to talk about Marissa Mayer's Sunshine Labs, and that is now officially shutting down.
Sunset.
But a sunset for Sunshine. But what's interesting about this, in like the latest version of Silicon Valley irrational privilege, it's being acquired by another one of Mayer's startups.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't really ever fail, you just recycle your failures.
Man, so like I told you I want to be the type of CEO like Crowning, or what was it called? Corning.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what kind of CEO I don't want to be like is this chick, right? Like at the end of the day, I feel like, you ascend to, the CEO of Yahoo, and every decision you make, if it don't work, it looks like the worst one. Tumblr was just they fumbled it, right? Didn't have the foresight to think about.
Was that 1.2 or 1.1 billion they paid for it, and then they just shut it down for zero?
Yeah, sold it for like $3 million. And so when you talk about like just ups, like that's one.
That's a good one.
But then also when you had the opportunity to kind of like maybe get Hulu, or even Netflix at the time, and you got the one that's more likely to be used for child pornography. So now she want to start, now put a pin in that, she want to start a company around photos.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, and so she comes out with this idea that it's going to be all these different things and how you utilize AI and how you connect and do all these things like socially. It never really made sense, but despite the fact, and let's just back up for her track record here. She came out of Google, I think. Right. She was really successful. She got hired as the CEO of Yahoo. Yahoo was in bad shape, and she kind of righted the ship, or at least maintained the ship for a little period of time. They consummated the Tumblr acquisition for over $1 billion, which ended up basically being worth nothing. There were other missteps that didn't go well. So she ended her tenure there kind of with mixed results, is probably the nicest way of saying it.
Right.
But then she goes out with this kind of half-assed idea of what Sunshine Labs is going to be. She raises $20 million.
Of course.
And somehow, and puts her own money in fairness, but then takes 7 years to develop a product that basically doesn't do anything interesting.
No, because she's not a founder. At the end of the day, like you take someone who is at the top of the food chain, you can't make them go to the bottom when they don't have the same hunger. She doesn't have any hunger. Like for her, the backslide would be going to Morton's to eat. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A steak. To where she's used to having a chef cook it for her. That's not a backslide.
Our backslide is Golden Corral.
I'm telling you, all day long, shit, Shoney's.
Yes.
And so at the end of the day, when I think about, her mindset, individuals like that are surrounded by yes people, right? And you have a strong enough network where people can toss you $10 to $15 million. You can get a group and you put in 5 of your own because you were making hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. And to start a company that was really confusing, that first it started off as like, hey, we can integrate your calendar and your email and let's update your contact list to see who you haven't hung out with and who you have not hung out with in a long time. And then now we're going to evolve it to photos. And it was like, you're going to use AI to say, hey, I know you got that photo, let's drop it. And instead of sending it to me, we're going to use AI to do X, Y, Z. And I was like, and I'm trying to break it down. I was like, they don't go through the same process. There's no customer development. Her focus group are 5 people.
But here's my question. Do they I feel like she goes into these things like, if I fail, no big deal, because there's going to be another check. There's going to be another opportunity. I'm going to keep trading on my name.
Yeah, there's no fail.
And so you don't have that sense of like scarcity. You don't have that sense of like, this has to work, like the name of the damn podcast, right? Which is what every founder should go into every opportunity thinking, which is there is no plan B. I don't have a parachute on this damn plane. And if I can't make it fly, well, guess what? I'm going to crash it into the side of a mountain. And I don't know what happens after that. So I'm going to act as if I don't know what's going to happen after that. And I don't have these continual series of golden parachutes coming out of every failed attempt. Because the thing that was crazy about all of this is her investors allowed her to basically transfer the assets, assuming that she was able to do this, transfer the assets into Dazzle, which is the new company, which is a dumbass company.
Oh, is it a cleaning company?
No, it'd be better. I mean, you would probably have better prospects. No, this is going to be another AI assistant, Jay, because nobody's playing in that space.
No, I guess not. I mean, apparently, when you're, as a founder, I'm just going to let you guys know, like, real talk. I'm just not you, Matt. I'm just talking to our viewers. I'm going to let you know how cool it is. Like, when you start your own company, it comes with an executive assistant. It comes with a ton of individuals with money that will give it to you. And guess what? It doesn't even matter because you can't fail. Why? Because you can just transfer it to another company. That's her mindset. For me, like, their failure ends in scandal. Our failure ends in, like, shit, I can't pay my bills. Like, that's it. Like, today I realized I may have to close my company. Why? Because my home office is no longer a home. Like, now they come to take it away. And that's the sheriff right there. So, guys, I'm out. Like, that's kind of how it is. For her, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, and staying on the coming to America train here, it does not come with a royal ball washer. That it does not come with. I'm not even going to promise you that. Like,
Man,
no. I mean, the joke is it comes with none of those things. You're going to empty your own trash can. You're going to like do all of your own work, and
all that.
And it's probably better that you do, because otherwise you end up being like a Marissa Mayer who takes the $20 million, basically burns it, has nothing to show for it, transfers it to a company that now wants to compete with everybody else, including companies like, Microsoft, that's already doing this work. And you can look people straight in the eye as if this is going to work. There has to be some kind of just absolutely applied ignorance to being able to do that. It's almost psychopathic, if I'm being honest.
So, all right, so I got a question. And this is a legit question.
Yeah.
And to our viewers, like, please feel free to, like, comment your answer on this one. And I don't know when we'll read it. I guess when my mom and everyone else comment, because that's how many viewers we're going to have on this one. But
or when I get canceled for the royal ball washer.
Right, man, comment. Can't, bro. That's so here's a question. When I think about this whole idea of what she had and how she poorly executed, I wonder how many of these pitches she's recycled from other people that have pitched her. Like, being the CEO of Google, Yahoo, and working at Google, like at Yahoo, she's had access because she sits on boards. Mm-hmm. She's had access, in the tech industry where people will come and she'll judge ideas and contests and things of that nature. She's a featured panelist and things of that, just all that stuff. And to have businesses pitch, and she just has folders of just like old pitches that she just went through and said, hey, I did like this idea. I wonder if I can build that, or hey, let's do this, because she's not that innovative. Like, nothing in her resume said, now, intelligent, absolutely. That she has a strong business person acumen, probably so, mm-hmm. But there's nothing that says innovative. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that says that she has started anything and created. Like, I think that her parents, like, one was an engineer and the other was an art teacher and stuff like that, which is super dope. So the creative genius could flow. But when you start a company, you first have to worry about the problem that you're trying to solve, and she doesn't have problems like that.
Yeah, and I just keep coming back to when $20 million isn't a lot of money to you
at all,
you act accordingly.
Right.
I remember this. I went to London to visit a friend from B school, and one of the things that was happening was there's this big kind of celebration, and there were a bunch of cars, really exotic cars. And there was a Bentley that had that suede paint. You ever saw that? Where it's like you could literally run your hand across it and it would change colors like suede would?
No.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
It had it. And so I asked the guy and I was like, this is cool. What happens when it gets dirty? And I swear to God, he looked at me. He was not kidding. He goes, well, I'll just buy another one.
That's it. It's convenient.
So when money is no object, you treat it that way and you're reckless, or you're certainly not good stewards of it.
No.
But the thing I think frustrates me, and this gets a little to your question, which is what frustrates me is how many founders are out there that would have just bled for a fraction of that money to try to push what they were doing forward. Meanwhile, you've got this person who keeps failing forward and potentially even failing up in all of these endeavors. At some point in time, it's ridiculous and it's maddening.
I'm one of the founders that would definitely love that. Just that 1% that did not want to go over to Dazzle, you can send that to Prep Intel. I got you. But I think that what I don't like more than anything else is it's just a stupidity that's just recycled, and that's all it is. It's like, again, it's somebody out there that heard the pitch for Sunshine that was like, that was my you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my company, that she does this and what, I bet she gonna say this.
Yep.
She did, why? And she can't explain it because it's not her idea. I doubt very seriously she wake up every day and be like, I think I can solve the problem for this. I think the hardest problem is, have I coordinated the homeschool teacher today? And then it's not even that, the executive assistant, have you done this? And the executive assistant got an executive assistant. Like, it's that many layers of being removed from like what a founder really is. The closer she came to founders were probably being pitched or having conversations with them or taking panels with them. And even then, the playing field isn't the same. And that's just, to me, it's just dumb. And anyone who invested in her probably was just her friends. She was like, hey, we need to move this to Dazzle because of this. And they were like, all right, well, go ahead, let's just send the paperwork over. Because to them, the $2 to $3 million that they probably invested, again, is nothing.
Yeah. Apologies to anybody for the audio on that one. Somebody was apparently rolling a cart full of shit that they bought on Temu because it's the loudest damn hand cart I've ever heard in my entire life.
Sponsored by Dazzle.
Unbelievable. So to Marissa Mayer and to Sunshine Labs, God bless you. Good luck in the future, although I kind of don't really mean that, if I'm being honest. All right, Jason, what did we learn today?
That apparently, if you are a rich white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, you can get people to pay $20 million and then launder that shit to another company for you. So that way you won't look like a complete failure, although $20 million isn't really that big. It's a Birkin bag for her.
100%. I would agree with that. I think the other thing that we learned is that we probably have moved away from some of the basic blocking and tackling about thinking about our own startup strategies. Going back to this idea of pick and shovels and going back and saying, I can build something that's scalable, I can build something that's de-risked, and I can do something that services a much larger industry or technology in a way that could make real money and real growth and provide real value. So I'm actually really pulling for Lattner in this. I hope they're successful at Modulr, because that to me is more the direction we should be moving in and kind of startups in high growth. All right, so to finish us off this week, as always, we like to refer to Saint Samuel, our patron saint of the obvious. So Sam Altman's quote of the week this week is, quote, very ambitious startups often take a long time to work, or sometimes they take a very long time to look ambitious.
I guess it takes 7 years, because that's how long Sunshine had taken, right?
Yeah.
So he's right on that one, man.
I don't think they ever looked ambitious, though. That's how they burned $20 million. So anyway, well, that's the episode this week. Thanks so much, as always, for checking us out. Like, comment, subscribe.
All day.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.
So what is it about taking like a kid's thing or like a childhood thing and making it scary that somehow makes it scarier than something that started scary.
I guess kind of like Ghostbusters, but this shit made me want to get like graham crackers, like the Teddy graham crackers. Man, I mean, I low-key like want to go get some today. Like that shit looks amazing.
It's a little bit like if Teddy Ruxpin and Godzilla had a baby.
Right.
And then gave it a dumb t-shirt.
Man, who made the t-shirt? You know, that's what I'm saying. Who making big ass
What's the factory
t-shirts?
look like that made that t-shirt? That's a big ass factory.
Right, how the fuck they find that t-shirt?
What's a tariff on a t-shirt like that?
I'm telling you, like who shipped it?